Hey guys, Chris here, back with a thermal throttling test this time and taking a look at the thermals and just how will these phones throttle. So on the left, we've got the Xiaomi Mi 11. This, of course, has the Snapdragon 888. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of UFS 3.1 storage. And here we have the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra with the Exynos 2100. Also 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of UFS 3.1 storage. So both of these phones right now have been left, they've been fully charged and they are cool. So both of them, just to confirm, 100% battery life. Both of the screens are calibrated to 200 nits of screen brightness throughout this entire video right here. So I'm going to load up now 3D Mark and we're going to do the throttling test here. Now this will report on just how much these phones will actually throttle down. Now right now on the screen, maybe it looks like the Xiaomi Mi 11 is a little bit brighter the screen, but trust me, they are both measured, they're both 200 nits here. So it's the stress test we're going to go into here, and I'm going to run this. This goes for 20 minutes, and then we'll take a look at which phone gets the warmest and which phone is going to throttle the most. And I shall run this at the exact same time right here. For some reason, it looks like it's not ready on the Mi 11. No, it should be. So let's run this now. And this is going to be 20 minutes, and we'll skip ahead and check out the results. Okay, so it's just finishing up its last little loop here now, and I can see the thermals. Look at the difference. We're getting up to a scorching 48, which is not actually too bad for the Mi 11, as you'll probably see later on. 49 degrees now at the front of the phone, whereas it's only 41 with the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra here, the Exynos version. And once this finishes up, I'll show you the results, and I'll take a look at the back of the phones too, their thermals. Okay, so the phone has finished up first, the S21 Ultra. We'll take a look now at these results. So here we go. You can see out of the loops here. So stability, it has throttled down to 64%. Sorry, 65 almost right there you can see. And stability 90. So there's a huge score difference, a gap. Look at the lowest score here on the Exynos. This is very, very interesting. These results here, you can see all the different tests, the loop, and see how it's getting lower and lower and lower. Right down to after 20 minutes, 20 loops to 3,683. Now, what did the Mi 11 do here? Always in the 5,000s there, you can see. So very good. It gets a lot hotter, but it's not throttling. Now, after the recent firmware update on the S21 Ultra, this is the last firmware update, it seems that they have been controlling the thermals a lot more, throttling it down. So what I'm going to do now is flip over the phones, and we will take a look at the rear of them. Okay, so let's see what the thermal imaging camera is showing here. Okay, there's a bit of a hot patch on the Mi 11, and that's about 45 degrees, okay? So that's pretty warm. Warm to the touch, but the front getting up to almost 50. That is hot. And look at this, the S21 Ultra. It's only about 38 degrees maximum there. And just before I let both of these phones cool down for our next throttling test, 89% is what the battery is at here after the 20 runs, and 88%. So very, very similar there. And they have, remember, the same screen resolution. They're both AMOLED panels. They're both running at 120 Hertz. And you can see there is the frame rate difference there from 13 frames per second to 42, and a lot higher from 22 to 42 on the Snapdragon 888 there. And you can see the internal temperatures from 24 degrees to 46 and from 22 to 42 there on the Exynos powered S21 Ultra. So right now I'm going to leave these phones, let them cool right down for the next throttling test. So this next test is called CPU throttling test, and you can see all the 8 cores there. And what this is going to do is measure the performance after 15 minutes of stressing out those cores there. So nothing is running in the background of both of these phones. Before, nothing was running there as well. Just to confirm, there's no other apps running. Memory has been cleared. Both of these phones were also rebooted, okay, and they are both cool. I let them cool down for 25 minutes, and they are both cool to the touch there, so no problems there. Now we're going to measure and see how much they throttle with this particular test, and I'll check on those thermals again. So I'm just going to hit start on this one at the same time. And there we go. We'll leave that for 15 minutes. But we'll just see at the start here, what is going to happen? Are we going to go down to 65% performance as we did before with the Exynos? And will the Snapdragon 888 here just lose 10% performance? You can see already, look at that, the Snapdragon is in the lead. I can see with the throttling and the performance as well there, as you can see. But I'll let this run now for 15 minutes and we'll check on those results and also the thermals. Okay, so we are coming up now to the 15-minute mark. Well, it's just a little bit short there. There's no point probably running right to 15, but we can see what's happening there, that the overall performance is actually better on the Snapdragon 888. The Exynos is throttling and stayed throttling, and it only took literally about 30 seconds to start throttling, where the throttling performance, where it really actually dropped off, was about the 5-minute mark on the Snapdragon 888, and it has not recovered then, but you can see the Exynos is starting to throttle a little bit more. Now, interesting, they've reversed roles now with the heat. So the GPU seems to be the thing that's heating up the Snapdragon 888 chipset. And you can see right now, looking at the thermals, that the hot patch on the front of the screen here is the hottest on the Galaxy S21 Ultra there, which is almost 43 degrees, versus if I have a look at the hottest point here on the Mi 11, the Mi 11 is about 38 or so. This is the front of the phones. So it's about to finish up that test. There's no point in me running it for another 30 seconds. So I'll just stop the test now and we'll take a look at the other side of them and see how they fare there with the thermals. Oh, okay. So here we can see definitely roles have reversed now when it comes to CPU only performance. That much hotter on the Exynos 2100, the S21 Ultra here getting up to about 42 degrees on the rear, whereas the Mi 11 is only 35, 36 maximum. So that is quite a big difference. Now I'm back testing out Genshin Impact, but this time around I won't use the default highest setting, which is capped at 30 frames per second. I'll set that to 60. So this is the S21 Ultra, and we have the Mi 11 there at the top. And I'm just going to load and see which one. It should be the same point. Oh, well, almost the same point in the map. It's just to get an idea of which one is going to load the game the fastest. Both phones have nothing else running in the background. They were both cooled down before starting the games, and I started the game at the exact same time as well, just to keep things exactly even here. And both of them still have the screen calibrated to 200 nits of brightness manually throughout this video, as I mentioned before. So the S21 Ultra, no surprise there, did actually load up a little bit faster because it has superior storage, so much quicker than the Xiaomi. It's almost like double. Check out my review. I did the comparison of both of these for that. So the settings here now, I'm going to go and change that. It'll be on now on the maximum default setting, but that's not actually the one I want to use now. I want to really push both of these phones really hard. We've seen before with 3D Mark that the GPU throttles more on the Exynos, so that's probably going to happen again. So here we have the default setting, okay, on the highest. So I'll go to where it says FPS and simply change that to 60 now, and these are going to, both of them, are going to probably get very, very hot. So we'll see what happens. Now, it's going to be an hour that I'm going to do this. So I'm going to try and use them both at the same time and just rotate between them when moving about and gaming. So one of them's not sitting there idle for too long. And we'll see just how hot they get, both of these phones now, after 1 hour. Let's skip ahead. All right, so it's been an hour. In fact, it's been over 1 hour, and I've been trying to use these phones both at the same time, just moving them around the map just to not let one of them cool down too much to make it unfair. So the back of the Xiaomi clearly hotter here. We can see we're peaking at about 46 degrees and maybe even a little bit higher. I have seen it peak to 50 at times. And the back of the S21 Ultra here, that is only getting up to about 42 degrees here. So flipping these phones over now, we're in the same point of the map too as well, by the way. More or less, I moved back. I can clearly feel to the touch that yes, the Mi 11's a lot hotter. So on the front of the screens, we're looking here at about 46 here versus about 38. But when I move around on the map, and I just walk ahead here, I don't even have to do much. I can see clearly It's stuttering at times. The frame rate is not steady, so it's clearly throttling to keep the thermals under control on the S21 Ultra, as we saw with my 3D Mark results, if you remember that, if you saw that part of the video, that it throttled down about 35%. See here, yeah, definitely, the Snapdragon 888 is so much smoother, maintaining a much higher frame rate, more steady, smoother gameplay. And the more you move around here, the more heat that is generated, and it doesn't take too long to cool down. So let's have a look at those thermals again. Clearly, the Mi 11, as I mentioned in the review, is a hotter phone, and it can peak at even 50 degrees, even over 50 degrees Celsius I have seen. So what can we take away from this? We can take away one fact, that the Exynos, the 2100, is an inferior chip. It is nowhere near as good as the Snapdragon 888. Its CPU cores, when stressed, will actually get hotter than the CPU cores that are in the 888. However, the GPU is the Adreno, and it's very hot. Okay, the Adreno GPU gets a lot hotter than what they had with the Mali GPU with the S21 Ultra there. Yet Samsung charges here in Europe the same price for the inferior chipset versus the Snapdragon 888. So thank you so much for watching this video. Do check out my review comparison of both of these phones where I go into a lot of other detail. And thank you so much for watching this video.